My name is Mr. Folkenberry, and for this special edition of The Economist, to all of our watchers out there, we have former East Egger himself, Mr. Tom Buchanan. Say hi, Mr. Buchanan, to everybody that is watching.
Hello to all the watchers. It is good to be back here on Long Island, especially New York City. I know that it's in Long Island, but it's very nice to be back in New York City.
Now, Mr. Buchanan, as you know, we've had 3 Republican leaders in the past decade: President Harding, President Coolidge, and now President Hoover. Do you think that these Republican leaders were a step up from the progressive leadership that we've seen in the previous decades?
In my opinion, Republican leadership was fantastic this decade. I really like their pro-business approach to things, and also putting America first, right? We shouldn't be saying we're second best or third best. We should be the best, and that was reflected by the Republicans' approach to our country. And more importantly, progressive leadership last decade was terrible, especially Teddy Roosevelt. I know that he wasn't last decade, but you know. And also Woodrow Wilson, terrible. I hated his internationalism. It's just absolutely terrible.
Mr. Buchanan, 6 to 7 years ago, the Teapot Dome scandal completely revolutionized and changed American politics. Do you think that it was overblown a little bit and maybe some of the drastic changes that occurred shouldn't have happened?
In my opinion, the Teapot Dome scandal was completely overblown. I mean, the guy that started it, what's his name, from Wisconsin, the senator. Robert LaVoyette, I think his name is. He's done a terrible job, by the way, or he did a terrible job. He died in 1925, but I would have done a better job. I would do a better job than any politician. But yeah, he's a terrible senator. But yeah, it's completely overblown. I mean, 2 of my friends that started, sorry, not my friends, Albert Fall's friends, just to clarify that, they didn't do anything wrong. What, like $500,000 they paid Albert Fall to lease those oil sites out? That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I do that all the time. Sorry, I mean, I don't do that all the time. But it was completely overblown.
Mr. Buchanan, over the past decade, Republican leaders, as you know, have repeatedly cut the top tax rate and the corporate tax rate. Do you think that these tax cuts are justifiable?
What's my opinion on the tax cuts that Republicans made? They were terrific. Like, why should I be paying like 50% of my wages? Like, because I do hard work, obviously, and like I shouldn't be giving that away, right? Like, no, that makes no sense. And also, those taxes that were enacted during the war, like, they were needless, okay? We aren't in a war right now, are we? Are we? No. So we don't need those taxes, which is why the Republicans did the right thing and they brought down the tax rate to 25% for me. And I am currently lobbying. Well, I'm not lobbying, but I'm suggesting to any politician that's watching right now to bring it down more.
Now, Mr. Buchanan, over the past 4 or 5 years, as consumerism has just completely skyrocketed, stock market speculation is something that has been worried about by economists, the Federal Reserve Bank, and also former Secretary of Commerce, now President Herbert Hoover. Do you think stock market speculation is something that should be worried about?
What's my opinion on stock market speculation? It's kind of a made-up lie. I don't think it even exists. Like, just let people have what they want, even though they probably can't afford it. Like, I know that they said that if there was a massive sell-off in stocks in one particular day, within the next 1 or 2 months, then the entire market would crash. But if that doesn't happen, nothing's gonna happen. Let our economy boom. Why should we be worried about speculation right now? Like, I know that ties into consumerism. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just let people not buy things that they can't afford? No. Stock market speculation is just a made-up lie, okay? Straight up. It's completely overblown.
Now, Mr. Buchanan, immigration has been a big point of contention among the American people and pretty much has become stagnant, and the Republicans have repeatedly said that they are very anti-immigrant. Do you think that the U.S. should be opening up the country more, or do you think that immigration should be completely cut off?
What is my opinion on immigration? Is that what you're saying? Well, I read this book, and I think that you've heard of it. It's called, I forget what it's called, but it's extremely scientific, and it's very well known. And it was said in there, specifically, immigration is bad. Immigration is terrible for our country, in fact. Like, I mean, that's just what it is. Like, I don't make up the rules. Immigration is bad for our country. It's just terrible for our country, and we should just completely close it off to anybody. No, I think immigration should just frankly not exist. So yeah, that's what I think. I don't make up the rules, actually. That's not what I think. I don't make up the rules. Immigration's bad.
Throughout the decade, various Republican leaders have declined offers to join the League of Nations. Do you think that the US should be developing more international relationships as the world becomes more globalized and interconnected?
Now, let me phrase it this way. If we were to develop international relationships with other countries, we would be the worst. America needs to be the best, and will always be the best. But if we were to accept that League of Nations invitation, we would have to settle for being the worst. That's how it is. I don't make up the rules. Globalization is not something of the future, okay? Isolationism is. And that is what we should be doing. We should not be developing international relationships. However, we should be involved with South American countries and help them when they're struggling, because that is our duty as a nation. But we should not be developing international relationships with other countries.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan, for your time here. We appreciate that you came all the way from Chicago to do this interview with us. Thank you once again, and we hope that your family as well.
Thank you, Mr. Fultonberry, for having me here. And it's always nice to be in New York City. Sorry, I meant Long Island. It's always nice to be here in Long Island. Thank you so much.